Welcome back. We're doing another edition of Pages Promotions Virtual Book Festival Autumn 2020. See, I'm already jumping the gun. I want it to be another year. This is still Autumn 2020. This is a production of Indie Reads TV, and we find our home on CNM TV in Troy, Michigan. We're really grateful for all that they are doing to support literature and indie authors. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. Kate, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. It's all you.
All right, sounds good. So if you are watching this, there's a very good chance that you know that Diana is not just a wonderful host, a wonderful proponent and defender and uplifter of indie authors. She is obviously an author herself. I have been very privileged to get to see the evolution of some of the things that she is doing. And so we're going to turn the camera and the questions around on Diana today, and we are going to check out a couple of her books that she has. So my favorite one that I'm just so excited about, I actually got to hold it and look through it, and I can't wait for you guys to see it too, is one that involves an elephant. And I'm going to let Diana explain where this came from, who is it targeted at, and just show some of the gorgeous, gorgeous artwork that's in it.
Thanks, Kate. I'm really, really proud of this book. This has been something that's been brewing in my head since I did a what we called a virtual book or writer's retreat. It was one of those things where we wanted to go and be with our writers group, but we didn't want to take our laptops with us. So we wanted to do pen and paper, kind of a field trip, kind of a thing. So we went to the Detroit Zoo. And we spent the whole day stopping for 10 minutes at each animal habitat, writing, and then moving on to the next one. Well, they didn't have any elephants because the Detroit Zoo hasn't had elephants for many years. They just don't have the land capacity for elephants anymore. So I decided I wanted to write a book about elephants, and I wanted to write a young person's book that kind of touched on a topic that we find as parents that's difficult to discuss with children. And so this is where this came from. This is Emmett, Elephant's Love. There we go. I wish I had the screenshots prepared, but I don't. So the thing that I love most about this, it's written for 3-year-old readers and up, or you can read it with your very young children. It's picture book, very simple language. But what I love most about it is that my husband did the illustrations for this book. And it's just absolutely spectacular. He has this amazing elephant, Emmett, that he drew. I got to find you the picture from the cover. It's so amazing. Here it is. Let me see if I can do this justice. Probably not, but there we go. Everything's backwards and mirrored. So that's Emmett. And in this book, Emmett learns a very important lesson. Emmett learns that smart elephants know that listening to their heart, even in sadness, is a strong thing to do. So this is a really great story about, I think it's a great story. It's a great way to teach very young children about the difficult topic of losing a grandparent. So this story it's the story of Emmett and his grandmother, and how Emmett's grandmother takes him for a walk one day and explains to him that one day, because she's very old, like all elephants, she's going to die. And he's kind of concerned, and he says, I don't know what this means. What does this mean? And she says, it's a place where I'm going to go and be with all of the other elephants who have died in a sacred, soft, warm place. But I will leave my love behind, and you will see it reflected in your friends and your family. So I will always be with you. So that's kind of the idea of the story. But my husband did these amazing drawings. So this is Greg Giraffe, who is super, super cute. I just adore him. And then the other one, this is Emmett and his friend Patrick Egret, and they're dancing. So it's just a sweet, lovable little story. It strangely enough, it took me a long time to come up with just the right way to tell this story. My son, who is now 30, is what I like to call a private griever, which means he deals with grief in his own way. And that's kind of how I've raised him, to say, look, nobody gets to tell you how to love. Nobody gets to tell you how to grieve. You get to handle that however you need to. And when people have passed in his life, he's refused to go to funerals because he handles grief very privately. And I've never pushed that issue, but I wanted to find a way, especially now in the time of COVID, when young children are losing their grandparents. I wanted to find a way to reach them and to make it an okay story, to make it one of those gentle things that children can understand. So here's one of my other favorite pictures. This is Grandma and Grandpa Elephant saying goodbye just before she dies, because as Grandpa Elephant says, I'll read this to you. Sometimes it is difficult, but it is important to tell others that you love them, even when it is their time to die. It was hard for Grandma and Grandpa to say goodbye, but the goodbye was made softer because they found the time to do it anyway. So that's Emmett Elephant, and that just came out, I want to say 2 weeks ago. I'm really, really excited about it because this is the first project that my husband and I have done together. So
and the pictures truly are, I mean, I wish Zoom could do justice to those images, because when I held it in my hands and was looking through it, I just kept having this feeling of just, this is incredible. The colors, the richness, the vibrancy, and even just the, little injection of humanity in the animals where the kids can relate to that. And it's a very important book. I think we need to have. I think maybe we want to protect our children as much as possible, which of course is good. But if we don't tell them about these kind of things, then it just becomes this scary thing that we don't talk about.
Exactly.
So
and that's why I wanted to write
very
something
important
for,
book.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to write something for little tiny children, so that it's something that we could reach them on their level and help them to understand and process it, rather than making it this thing that they don't get to until adulthood.
Exactly.
Hang on one second. Okay, so this is the best part about this book. Everybody who orders Emmett Elephant's Love gets one of these. Isn't this just the best? He's just the cutest little elephant guy. He's so cute. So we're giving these away for all of the children when you buy a copy of the book. So just because, Now I beta tested this book on my girlfriend's son, who just turned 4. And the best part about the book for him was he got to, there's one picture of a herd of elephants, and he got to count all the elephants. He loved that. And then the whole time that his mom was reading the book to him, he was hanging on to his little Emmett. And every time he saw a picture of Emmett in the book, he said, "Look, it's Emmett." And he touched the elephant to the book. He was, Emmett was helping him read the book, which I just thought was super cute. So on the text pages, we have, it's really simple, easy to see text, big enough so that little fingers can follow along with the words. So that's what we did. I'm sorry that I didn't think ahead to build screenshots, but it's super fun. I had a great time doing this.
And it really is gorgeous in real life. And so I loved it when I first saw it. So when you have little people who are growing up into slightly larger people, one of the other things that I know about Diana is how passionate she is about teaching, get them when they're young. Teach them about the love of reading and writing when they're young. I know that you have a project in the hopper regarding that. So what came out today?
Today, I'm so excited. I've been working on this for so long. I have a newly renewed sense of awe for anyone who teaches children, because presenting material in a way that makes it interesting and engaging for them turned out to be a heck of a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But after, I guess it's been a year I've been working on this, we've now come out with this, which is the Passionate Plotter Kids Workbook. And this is a collection, this is a writing workshop, and it's in 178 interactive worksheet pages. So there's a little bit of instruction that teaches kids about the concepts, and then they get to work through the worksheets. So for instance, let me see if I can find it. This is my, my proof copy here. This is my proof copy. This is not what the final look like, but it's close. So when we're talking about plot maps and how to, because I am a passionate plotter, as you walk through the plot maps with kids and you help them to understand the steps in writing a story, building the scenes, finding the climax, how to do the falling action and then the resolution, I made, and again, I'm sorry I don't have decent screenshots, but I made this page that is 3 little pegs, and it's a plot map that walks them through every step of how to do this. And then after they're done learning about it, and again, this is marked up because, you know, we were doing stuff, but there's then a worksheet, there it is, that they can fill out to walk them through it. And then there's brainstorming pages in here. There's how to make a scene and the different steps of building a scene and what that looks like. And then there are a whole bunch of brainstorming pages where they can actually write in the book. I wanted this to be not just a teaching tool, but I also wanted it to be a place where they could write their brainstorming ideas. And then at the bottom, on several of the pages, we have these little frames where kids can also draw pictures as they're imagining their story, because not everybody plots with words the way I do. Some people use Scrivener and they do pictures, and some people bring in Post-it notes and all that kind of stuff. So, that's what this is. This is a step-by-step for 2nd through 6th grade children that walks them through how to plan and plot a story from beginning to end. It touches on everything, character, scene building, world building, time and place, language, body language, characters, everything. And like I say, it's 178 pages, and they're all interactive worksheets.
And they're honestly, I also got to see this one in person, and the different devices that Diana uses to, you know, really capture, because with kids, you got to capture their attention first, you know, get them really interested and invested in it. And so, for example, the 3 Little Pigs worksheet, I remember even myself being a passionate pantser, looking at this and thinking, this is applicable to adults as well. If you are in that spot where, okay, I want to write, but I just don't even know how. I don't know where to start. I have all these ideas, but I don't know how to coalesce them. I remember looking through it and thinking, this is just as relevant for adults, which was absolutely, oh, look at this, look.
Yeah, so Michael is holding up the adult version of the Passionate Plotter. I did 2 versions. One I released in late winter, 2020, and then this one is coming out now. The Passionate Plotter workbook for 7th graders through adults is what Michael has. And that's 438 pages. And they're all interactive worksheets as well. It's just not in color. And there's more lecture material in the older version. But the younger version, I had just a blast building it because I had to think about how children work visually. And like you said, Kate, what's going to hold their attention and get them to actually fill out the worksheets. So.
And it's fun. I mean, honestly, just reading it was fun. Looking through, and it's not the same thing for every lesson, which was really cool. Where, you know, kids will catch on to that pretty quick. It was this different, new approach every time, but still relevant to things that kids know, like the 3 Little Pigs. It was just so cool to see. I think that would definitely be something, especially for parents right now that are finding they're having to either homeschool or supplement their kids' education. This would be a wonderful thing for people to really incorporate. And again, get them while they're young, get them writing and really embracing the love of writing when they're little. So
Yeah,
I can't wait to recommend it.
Thanks. No, I appreciate your support on it. That was my intention when I finally released this book today. It's gone through quite a few betas, and I've always been, adding to it and revising it. And my son Zachary helped me edit it because he has a way of looking at things from a much younger person's perspective. But all of this material came out of my work over the last 10 years teaching writing workshops in public schools as an adjunct teacher. So I took all of that information, what worked in the classroom, what didn't work in the classroom, and I put it in a book with the understanding that now we're in COVID and it's hard to find materials that really hold attention. So that was my goal.
I could definitely sit here, to be perfectly honest, I could sit here all the rest of the night and talk about how much I love them, but I'm going to hush up and I'm going to open it up to everybody else. So if you're muted, unmute yourself and go ahead. Diana, you are in the hot seat. We have questions coming your way.
Awesome. Deborah, go ahead.
Is that Passionate Plotter one, you said it's available for purchase today? Like,
yeah,
we can do it.
Yeah,
okay,
it's live on Amazon today. If you want signed copies, my website's also posted on the Facebook page. But yeah, you can order it from Amazon today. No, it went live at I think it was 11 o'clock when I finally rolled out of bed and posted it. So
cool. Yeah, because my daughter is almost 10 and she loves writing stories. Probably, she's seen me do it.
It'll be perfect for her. It'll be perfect for her. Okay. Now, one of the other nifty adjuncts to this book that I didn't mention, but I will just briefly, is that with a parent's permission, we have a special opportunity for once children go through the entire workbook program, whether it's in a workshop with me or with their parents in the book, we will help them publish their book. So,
cool.
Because my goal is to get more kids to see the excitement behind publishing. When I taught this in the schools, we took all of the last one I did was 4th and 5th graders. We took all of the kids, we went through the whole program. Everybody wrote a short story. We published it in the anthology, and then all the kids got a copy of the book. We had a big lunch party at the school. I can't do that right now, but I still want to help kids publish their work. So there's more details in the book about it, but that's also an option to kids when they get their permission from their parents.
Okay, that's awesome.
Any other questions? I was thinking too that I actually thought last year I bought I have 9 nieces and nephews, and for 3 of them, I bought something that was, okay, you just write the story, send it in, and it'll be published, but there wasn't the guided part of it. It was just like, here, write something and we'll publish it. That's something that I personally, and I've had many years of buying for the 9 nieces and nephews of various ages. I've never seen that before where it was very much guided. So it's not just, throwing words on a page. No, you're teaching them to craft something that they can really be proud of.
Yeah, and the added bonus, if parents choose to help their children publish, is that I'll go through it and edit their story with them, and we'll do an edit process as well, so that children can learn what that editorial process was like, what it's like to work with an editor, what those requirements are like, what notes are about, how to work within constructive critique. So that's also something that we offer with the project as well. Like I say, I wanted it to be fully immersive and all-inclusive, not just, hey, here's another book you can, maybe toy with, but this is toward a long-term goal.
It's nice too, because even though I know right now there's a big focus on STEM in terms of curriculum, which is great, but for people like me that half of my scholarship going to school was a music scholarship, it's a little scary that we're maybe edging out the artistic side of things in schools. And so to know that even if, this isn't part of a formal curriculum, which maybe it will be in the future, that parents can still purchase this. And, if I had kids, I'd be saying, you're going to be an author, whether you like it or not. You're going to be writing and you're going to be a pantser, or you can follow Diana and you can be a plotter. And I think that that's so important, and that's something that we can't get away from, because to
Well,
me, the artistic side of things, that stimulates the brain for any and all things.
Well, and the other thing that a lot of people miss is that writing is an essential skill when, no matter what business, what career you go into. I don't care if my son was in the trades for 6 years, he still had to learn how to write effective proposals and explanations of projects. And so writing goes wherever you go. It doesn't matter what job you're going to have in the world. So I'm just trying to make it fun for kids.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I can't tell you how many, when I was in industry, how many reports I've read that were just horrendous.
Yeah. It's scary to think how many quote unquote professional people still write in text language in their professional
Text
documents.
messages.
It's a little frightening to me. So I'm trying to change the tide with the next generation.
Yeah, and then I would occasionally get one where somebody heard a word that sounded, really nice and fancy and impressive, but used it in a totally wrong context.
Yes.
Paradigm.
Yes.
Disingenuous. Yeah. That's another one.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when my son was a sophomore in high school, and he went to Seaholm High School in Birmingham, and he came home one day just mortified. And I said, "What happened? What, you look like you just had an awful day." And he said, "Mom, nobody in my English class knew what the word chasm was." Wow. And I went, "Oh my gosh, that's that. I get why. Do you need a moment? What can I do? Need a cup of cocoa? What can I know? This is heartbreaking." So our goal, my son is one of those people who, to this day at 30, he refuses to respond to you if you text message in abbreviations. He just won't do it. So
yeah,
I'm sure
we're probably as.
I'm sorry, Andrew.
Are you sure he didn't put a SAR before that chasm?
He wanted to.
Oh, God. So does anybody have any other questions for Diana while we have her in the hot seat?
Yeah, you may not get another option.
It's not a question, but I really applaud you for writing a book that tackles with death, because I think we're just so, it's just something that our culture has really detached from. And I know there's a lot of books for adults about death, but the ones that I've read doesn't really deal with the question of talking to other people, after they've had a loss. And so, I'm glad you're starting with young people, and we just need to see more of that in general, and people just talking about death and loss and grief in general.
Yeah, well, especially now, this is a time when kids hear about it on the news all the time. And my thought was, how about we just offer it in a gentler way so that they're not frightened by it?
Exactly.
This can be something that is a part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to be scary. So that was my intention with it. And to be able to do this project with my husband, he did all of the art in colored pencil. And we were really happy with the final product, because when I hold the book in my hand and look at the pages, the texture of the colored pencil comes through on the page. So all of the illustrations look just like the originals. We didn't lose anything in that second translation. So I'm really, really happy about it. They just came out great.
Awesome. And I love the fact that you chose elephants, because obviously most people are now aware of how elephants grieve and the whole process they go through. So that was just a perfect matching. So kudos to you.
I thought so too. Yeah, I really thought so. I remember reading an article on the internet about a gentleman who had an elephant sanctuary in Africa, and he spent years with this sanctuary. And one day he passed away, heart attack, I think. And he was laying in state at his house, because they're so far out in the bush that it took a couple of days for them to come and retrieve him and properly prepare him for burial. And this troop of elephants who he had been caretaker to for like 25 years found their way to the house on their own, as if some spirit told them that this gentleman had passed. And they spent, I think it was something like 16 hours circling the house in vigil. And I just thought it was the most touching. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. But it was such a touching thing that somehow we don't understand. Elephants are in tune with mortality that way. And so when I decided I wanted to write a book for young people about death, I thought elephants were just the perfect vehicle.
Good
And
stuff.
that's the great thing too about that book is, teaching kids also to develop that empathy, for animals, and understand that, like Luba said, with elephants having their rituals regarding death and everything like that, I think that you did that perfectly.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do it. It was fun. The really fun part was watching the illustrations happen. My husband did one a week because he still has a full-time job. So he would sit down once a week and create these, and then he'd bring it to me and say, so is this what you wanted? And I would just gush all over the place every day. So every week it was like getting a new gift from my husband. So this was a really, really precious thing for us to do together.
Well, both books that you've discussed tonight show a lot of good, positive empathy, because you're looking out for children with both, one to help them grow and the other to help them cope, grow, deal, a lot of other things. So hats off to you there.
Thank you.
So many writers don't see past that. I mean, many of us have lessons in our stories and books, but these are very direct lessons.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just thought, I try to write with meaning whenever I write, even in my fiction. So I'm glad to see that so far they're being well received. So
Yay.
Definitely.
Makes me sleep better at night.
Yay.
Kate, my timer says we have like 5 minutes left. So I'm going to do this. You've all been coming to these things all month. So, 18 days now. If there are any questions for me that you have about the festival, about my writing process, about not just about these two books, but anything, I'm willing to open the chasm doors and answer whatever you'd like me to answer. So this is your opportunity. You may not get it again.
I'm going to ask this just because I know this will be on YouTube later. Not when we get back to normal, because there's going to be a new normal. We're not going back to 2019. Are you going to continue these festivals in addition to live ones? Because I feel like this is something that I personally haven't seen anybody else doing anywhere else. So is this going to be in addition to live, or are you going to scale this back in the future?
I would love to keep doing these. It all depends on the authors. Thank you, Deborah. It all depends on you guys and what you want. And if this is an outreach venue that works for you and that you think I'm doing some good by presenting these festivals, I would love to continue to do them. If we get great response, we'll do them again. Tentatively, my idea is to do another one for the month of February, because I'm doing Nano in November, December, and January. I hibernate. But in February, I think I'll have the energy to do this again. So, you can definitely watch for the invitation coming up shortly. Yes, Deborah.
No, I'm just really glad to hear you say that, because and I'm glad Kate asked the question, because I was going to ask you at some point too, because when I was talking with my marketing manager, he actually asked me, he's like, is Diana going to keep doing this? And I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I was assuming so, but maybe not. He's like, no, she needs to. So you need to ask her if she's going to, and then you need to find a way to get her to do it.
Oh, good. That's wonderful. I'm glad somebody likes what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about outreach for authors. I think we as independent authors absolutely deserve as much attention as the trad authors get, or more, because I think we work harder at what we do. That's just me. And I read everybody. I read traditional, I read indie, I read little kids. So it's just, I want to create a greater outreach venue. And when we do go back to doing in-person festivals, which, oh my gosh, I really hope we do, because I love meeting readers that way. I still want to continue to do these 3 times a year. I'm thinking February, June, and October, 3 times a year. That gives us time to write more stuff and regroup with our marketing. And it gives me time to rest in between. But yeah, I would, if there's interest, I will continue to do them for as long as there's interest.
I think there will be. I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make.
I hope so.
And just
oh, look,
because
somebody's at the door. Go ahead.
Because you won't brag on yourself, I'm just going to say I actually, in my trick-or-treating, if you're looking for candy blog post, I said that, and I think everybody here would share the sentiment, that you would be handed, without question or thought, the world's greatest supporter of indie authors, because I do most of my selling 100% almost online, and I have never once come across anybody that has the passion, the drive, and the support that you provide to the community. And like I said, I know you won't toot your own horn, so just know that we're all tooting it for you and how much we sincerely appreciate everything that you do for us individually and as a community.
Thank you very much. I'm so humbled by that and appreciate it so much. I'm not looking for accolades. I want to see all of you sell as many books as I do. I want us all to really find success in this career so that we don't have to do normal day jobs ever again. That's my goal.
Agreed.
All the writers in the world who want to should ditch their day jobs. This is my goal.
I like my day job.
I know you like your day job. And what would you do except sleep when you weren't writing? And wouldn't that just be a sacrilege?
I will not sleep. You can pass on that.
I know. All right, we're about ready to wrap it up. But before I do, does anybody have any last thing for me? Any last question you have about the festival? Anything that's going on that you need from me before we end tonight's session?
No, I just want to echo exactly what Kate said. It's been consistently appreciated, all of the time and effort that you put into continually improving these events, other events. There are only a couple of people that I know that put as much time into it, and I'm very impressed. So keep it up and keep supporting us crazy people. And I hope that my stories don't scare you too bad.
No, I'll just turn on all the lights. It'll be fine. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate your kindness. Okay, I'm gonna sign off for tonight. I'm done, you guys. I'm just done. Too much excitement for one day. You know, I released a new book today. I got to go have a real bar burger. Okay, we didn't eat inside. We brought it home, but oh my gosh, so good. So I think I'm done for today. Thank you again, Kate, for hosting. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew. You and your tech stuff. How do I do that? Okay, I'm going to try.
I like the light show there.
I know, isn't it great? He's so wonderful. Okay, so thank you again, everybody, for coming. This has been Pages Promotions Virtual Book Festival Autumn 2020, a production of Indie Reads TV. We find our home at CNM TV in Troy, Michigan. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. I appreciate your support and your kindness and your indulgence. Have a happy night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you.